Hey YouTube, it's Andrew from Bushcraft and Chisel here. Some time ago I mentioned that I bought a like a British Army water bottle pouch to put my Yugoslavian cook kit into. I bought two of those pouches at the same time on a buy one get one free, and this is the other one of those two, and I thought you might like to see what I've got inside it at the moment. It's a lot less heavily laden than my other pouch. If I open it up, inside I've got the D-Power folding stove. I've done a review on this before. You can check my my review of that I've got in there, but I'll just show you. There's the stove inside, and I also look over here. There's the actual valve that you can fit onto a regular gas bottle that doesn't actually have the threaded head on it, which is quite useful. Also inside, if I maybe can just lift it all out in one go. Without snagging it on everything, I have my Ikea Hobo stove, and inside I have a pouch with some accessories that I've put together. I'll show you that in a minute. The Ikea, this is stove that I've created, used it a couple of times. See, I've cut an extended hole in the side of it there, and I also carry around inside, just to get things going if I need to, fire dragon cubes as well, solid fuel cubes. They're really useful. Yeah, so in my pouch of accessories I have 3 tent pegs which I've looped over at the top, which I can use to elevate the actual Ikea pot, the stove off of the floor, so that heat gets around it from air gets around it from all angles and keeps it heated and going. And I also carry in here 2 further tent pegs, that just regular ones that have just got the end folded over. You can actually slot those through the holes in here in order to, if you've got a pot that's smaller than the size of the stove, it keeps it elevated and up high. So I've got those. I'll show you that in a minute or two. I've got a little bit of fat wood that I carry around in here as well, just to get things going if I need to. And I've got 3 bolts. That have wing nuts on the end of them, nuts and wing nuts, in order to actually go through the loops that you saw there on the actual tent pegs, so that it can attach them to the actual base, and again keeping the pot elevated and above the ground, the stove elevated and above the ground, so that I can use it that way. And then just a couple of very lightweight tools in order to access those wing nuts. This is one of those tiny little spanners that you get inside of an Ikea kit, and also another one of those tiny little Allen keys that you also get in one of those in an Ikea furniture kit for screwing screws together. So let me start putting this stuff all together, and I'll let you see how it works. I don't know if you can see, that's like really firm. So I can get my hand completely underneath, and it's solid. It's sitting right on there, which is great. And so if I let's have a few close-ups on this. So I get these, you'll see why I need, so I've got some little bits and bobs. When after this thing's heated up really, really hot, you find it very difficult to get those bolts undone again after all the heat and the carbonisation on the inside. So I keep these two little actual Ikea cast-offs, if you like, a little wrench that fits the bolts in there, and a little Allen key that actually fits the bolt on that side. So so that if I'm in trouble trying to take it apart at the end, I can easily use these to achieve, removing it. So I'll put those back in the little case I've got over here to go with all the stuff. The case, I think, was an old cover case for a very old kind of Skype phone. So but you can just improvise on whatever you want for a case. And I also have these further 2 tent pegs that are sitting here as well to go with this. And the reason I want those is so that if I have something that's going on the top of this that's actually smaller than this diameter, what I can do is I can feed this guy through here like that, and take this guy on the other side and feed it through here. Let's go into that hole like that, so that I can sit something on top of that, so that it won't drop down into the fire, and still maintain that airflow. And I've just set it up here. Yeah, the only thing that you've got to be aware of is you've got to configure these 3 legs of this tripod, if you like, so that you've still got this hole in front of you. The amount of times you go and set this up and you've configured it the wrong way round and you're all ready to go and you're like, where's the hole to put the wood in? So it drives you crazy. So yeah, if I had, let me see if I've still got my Tatonka mug sitting around. I don't really want to use my Tatonka mug just yet, but just to give you an illustration. Right, check out that camera angle. It's the weirdest one in the world. I'm using a Gorilla Pod at the moment. Save me having to trundle around with my giant heavy tripod all the time. A Gorilla Pod's much better for bushcrafting, I would suggest, but it's a personal preference, I guess. Yeah, so there's the Tatonka mug. See, this is a perfect example. The Tatonka mug would drop through there, but if I have it sitting like that, then I can easily have the right bore I need. It's not going to drop through and stifle my fire, you see. So quite a good thing if you're doing a cup of coffee here, but I'm not going to do a cup of coffee, so I'll take that off there. I've already had my coffee, and I don't think I'm going to need these tent pegs for the moment either, so I'm going to take those out and put those back in that black case I've got. What I want to do though is I want to have my lunch, and for that I'm going to use my Seagull MSR pot, and my lunch in there, don't know if you can see, is going to be a British Army ration pack. I don't know if you can see from here. Meatballs and pasta. I've just folded it all up and then wrapped the top over. You can see here, there we go, there's the perforation, so that when I take it out I can just lift out that end and cut the perforation at the top. So let's give this a go then. I'm going to get my fire going in this stove, my Ikea stove, and then I'll put some water in that and put the MSR cook pot on the top like this, and we'll see how we get on, see whether it's a workable idea. But let me take that to the side. I'll need to put some water in that as well, obviously. So yeah, and I think I will just use a fire dragon to get this going to begin with, but let's see if I can position the camera somewhere where I can make this work. Okay. We need to be up a little bit, I think. There we go. That's relatively good. Right, so I think what I'll do as well is I I've heard that that fire dragons eventually turn to liquid as they burn, and then pour out of the bottom of your or would pour out through these holes in the bottom of my stove to begin with. I haven't used fire dragon that much to know that that's absolutely correct, but because I'm inexperienced with this, I'm going to just put a thin bed of sticks in the bottom here just to try and prevent that. Well, okay, thinner than this bed of sticks. That's too bad, that's not too bad. Something for me to seat my fire dragon on top of, you know. There we go. Grab one of these bad boys. Come in a packet like this. BCB Fire Dragon. Yeah, awesome things. Just saw the outside of the actual box. It says this box can be burned, which is quite an interesting thing to say, isn't it? You know, if you're in desperation, you've ran out of all your fire dragons, use the box. It's probably not a bad shout. The big thing is said about them that they're much better than hexamine, these blocks, but and that they're completely odorless. And I think I'd go as far as saying that they are more pleasant than using hexamine, which has a bit of an odour to it. You could probably smell it miles off. But I wouldn't go saying that this is without smell. It has a very kind of like I don't know really how to describe, like a kind of alcohol type smell about it, but like I guess that's what it smells like. Yeah, maybe like a shot of neat vodka. Maybe that's how they make it, out of vodka. It'd be expensive. Right, see if I can get this in there. And I'll get some wood to go on the top as well. Right, I haven't got any great sources of sticks that fit into this stove brilliantly, so I'm going to just feed them in, get a good fire going, and then put the top on. But let's see if I can fire some sparks in there. In fact, actually, oh. That was good. We're going. I can hear something going here. Let's have a look. Comfortably going there. Going to give it a good few minutes like that, I think. Let's see if I can. The thing with these guys is with wood burning stoves is they always need constant maintenance. That's the bit of a drawback for them. But you know, if you want something to do whilst your food's cooking, I suppose it's something. You can hear how furiously that pot's going away at now. I think I just need to give it a couple more minutes. Look at that. Wow, badass. You'll see that I'm getting a fair number of coals that are dropping out of the fire, which I'm then using my stick to try and just stamp out here, you know. And I don't have the most ideal wood here to use for this. The wood is actually really decent burning, but it's like chopping it into small enough bits just to go in there is quite hard, and it's not breaking over my knee down into nice neat bits. If you look at all of these bits, they're all really frayed. I'd have to break them and twist them round. It's a wood that seems to have a very strong tensile strength. I'm not entirely sure what it was, but yeah, it's fun stuff. I can maybe give you an example here. Look, this is just one tiny little bit. Look, every time it's snapping, and then it's like almost like a green stick fracture, but this wood is not green by any means. And then I'm having to kind of like break it again like that and twist it, and I get this, and then, you know, so it's like unusual wood, but there we go. And when it does break, it seems to tear as it breaks, but look how dry and dead that is. Very interesting. Well, if you're into wood. Don't take that the wrong way. The other thing to say as well is that I actually have dessert with me after my meatballs and pasta. I got some sticky ginger cake too, which I think I'm going to heat up in much the same way. Squeeze it all to the bottom, and when I take this one out of the packet or out of the stove, I can just put the next one in. Warm it up a little bit. squeeze the sticky ginger cake into the bottom of the packet there. Right, let's give this a go. There we go. Take it out of there. Just sit it here on the ground just for a moment. Get this thing on the go. I can sit you around here a little bit so you can see both. Let's see. Oh, wow. I can anticipate that this is going to be fizzing hot. Oh, look at the snake coming out of that bad boy. Oh, wow. Let's try what meatballs and pasta are like. Using my CRKT knockoff. We'll call it a munching tool. Wow. Well, nothing to write home about, but it's warm and moderately tasty. Oh. Wow. Oh. It's not too bad. I am pretty hungry now. Oh. Oh. I don't think I'm going to put any more wood in my stove. I think I'll just leave it from now, and then have the sticky ginger cake after that. It doesn't have to be fires of hell hot for sticky ginger cake. I wouldn't have said, you know, just nice and warm would be good. So I'll leave it going just for a little bit, and I'll show you when I start eating that. Okay. Almost gone out now. Let's see. Is that red hot? No, it's not red hot. Right. I'll just let that burn out. Leave it in there. There we go. Quite a spectacular amount of heat to come off of something. So, there we go. There's my sticky ginger cake. The top is pretty hot. So I'm going to eat that, and then I'm going to use the hot water to clean all my stuff up with, which is going to be awesome. But give me just a second, and I'll open this ginger cake up and see what it tastes like. Keep my water warm. Actually, not too bad. It's not actually too bad to handle. I can feel it's probably just a bit too hot to touch here. But if I rip the top off, give it some air. I wonder if you see. I'm not experienced in these things, but maybe you just eat this bad boy right out of the packet. Let's have a look and see what it looks like. Cool. Oh, sticky ginger cake. It is like a slab of sticky ginger cake. Well, let's have a look. Whoa. Ah, hot. It's just a question of trying to squeeze the bad boy right up into the other end of the packet, really. There we go. Here we go. We're getting there. Ow, ow, ow. Hot, hot. Should probably be doing this with my glove on, but digging down inside using the eating tool has covered my hand all in tomato sauce, so I don't really much want to put my glove back on there. I'll wait until... Here we go. Here we go. Now we're cooking. Right, let's see what this tastes like. Oh. It's not horrendously sweet, which I'm quite happy about. Whoa. It is very hot, though. Oh, it tastes not too bad, really. I quite like it. Nice. Well, I'm going to finish this off, and then I'm going to clean up my stuff. So I finished up my cup of coffee now. Just about good to go in a minute or two. Just going to wait for the actual thing to burn out, so I can... I don't have a great deal of water left to put it out, but I will douse it with some water when I've finished. But I just wanted to say to you, look at the amount of heat that this is still generating, even though there's nothing actually burning on it. I mean, I can't really... It's like... Yeah. I mean, like, you know, you'd get, you know, it's like, let me just try and illustrate by blowing. Hang on. Getting covered in ash, but maybe I can find an angle. Hang on. I can show you what I'm talking about here. Maybe this is a better angle. Yeah, here we go. That's one of the most fuel efficient things I think I've ever seen. I mean, the heat that's still coming off that, even though there's just like very small embers in the bottom, it's just incredible. But okay, so let's see how we're going to take this out. I think my strategy is going to be, so underneath, if I'm going to do this, the next time I do this, go out with this stove, I think what I'm going to do is put a very flat rock right at the bottom of this so that I don't get any burn at ground level, because you do have some of the coals dropping out and actually singeing the grass underneath, which is no problem because I can clean that up and make sure that's all doused out. But for the time being, I think to get the rest of the coals out of here, I'm going to just try and lift this sucker out of the ground. Ooh, it is still extremely hot. And then just turn it upside down and ditch it on the floor here. And then I leave this over to one side to cool down a bit. And put this out. If I was near a water source here, this would be much easier, you know, but the only water source I've got left is this. Still have a little bit left in there. Just make sure that's all nicely out. Don't want to see any embers there at all. Well, since the fire's gone out, I tell you, the midges in here, where I'm camping here, have just accelerated at some massive rate, and they're all over the place now. So the heat and the smoke must have been keeping them away before. And cold enough to touch now. It's quite an incredible transformation in just that short space of time, eh? Right, so grab my kit back over here. Time is of the urgency now. I am being eaten alive. So, get one of those. Clamp it on the inside. One of these, clamp it on the outside. Should just be able to turn around. So take that off. Obviously now I'm going to get covered in soot. Same old, same old. And then once you've finished removing the loops, you can always put these bad boys back on like this. Screw this on there like that. Obviously when you clean up your cookware when you get home, you can obviously clean this up as well. Put these back in the container, in the pouch I've got here. And I'll just keep working my way around each one there. Yeah. Oh, so many midges now, they're going in my eyes. Ugh. put my hat back on. Seems to be making a difference. Right, last one. Camera battery low, may lose you guys at some point, but oops. And there we go. All ready to pack up and go. Last one in there. And this. And